Dear racist or former reformed racist, your apology should come in the form of folded currency, the kind that you can wire in large quantities that come with a comma.
If you haven't watched the last video before this one, please go watch it. It's a conversation people are having about a popular content creator, white content creator, whose tweet resurfaced back on the media. And these tweets are her being a full-blown racist woman. She decided to make an apology video where she had stated that she stayed with racist family member that shaped her mindset and made her mindset be like that. She had so many disgusting tweets up, and those tweets are from 10 years ago. She said she had that mindset because she was living with racist people, and she started to rethink and have a change of heart after college, which people believe is not more than 2 to 5 years max ago. And that is not enough time for you to come tell us that you're no longer racist. This has been going on, and this is the second part of the conversation that people are having. I have put together all of these clips, so without wasting much time, let's get right into it.
When y'all said Shorty had racist tweets, I thought she like dropped an A, not even hard R, right? Like I thought like it was like a rap lyric. Imagine my surprise when it was actually her defending George Zimmerman. Ooh. It's not funny, y'all. Mind you, they keep being like, she was 16, Trayvon Martin was 17. What are we doing here? Like, teen for teen? Like, we gotta care that your family was full of crackheads? Like, wee bit of meth make everybody racist, I guess. I don't know. She came across my timeline a couple of weeks ago. Never heard of her before, but I'm not her demographic. Because she was like exposing her ex. And maybe this was his plan all along. Maybe he just re-released the tweets because, mind you, apparently people know about these tweets. They keep bringing it up. Every time she like kind of gets some type of notoriety, somebody releases them tweets. The scheme set up by Todd to come at us with the bullshit. Like, I did not know them tweets were that bad, y'all. Like, them are some damning tweets, y'all. Like, that is crazy. Also, why is no one wiping their Twitter anymore? Like, are we above that? Like, not advocating for her at all, but I feel like in 2024, everybody is getting caught up with old tweets. So wipe your Twitter. Like, you knew you was a blooming racist from a family of crackheads. Like, wipe your Twitter when you getting famous.
What if I told you that the goal of an apology is not forgiveness? What if I told you that the goal of saying I'm sorry, I apologize, is not to be forgiven by the person or peoples that you harmed? What if I told you that forgiveness is a byproduct of the goal of an apology? The goal of an apology, the goal of saying I'm sorry, is reconciliation of harm in behavior, internal work, external work, going outwardly to the person or the individuals or the group that you harmed. Whether that be healing the wounds, whether that be monetary, but a behavior change that effectively reconciles the harm. What if I told you that was the goal? And forgiveness is a byproduct of that. What if I told you that by telling white people who have harmed marginalized people, Black people, through acts of racism, that by telling them or making them feel that forgiveness is their goal, what they're actually hearing is that as soon as I receive that forgiveness, I have achieved my goal. Therefore, I have no further work to do. Forgiveness requires work and labor. When people ask people for forgiveness, I want people to really critically think that through. Because if I'm asking you to do labor after I've harmed you, after you're already doing the labor through the trauma, what I'm actually asking you to do by giving me your forgiveness is to do additional labor after I've already caused harm. And I have done nothing but utter the words, I'm sorry, to alleviate that harm. Now, while you are in trauma, I'm asking you now to do additional labor to forgive me when I have done nothing but lifted one finger and said a couple words. I want people to break things down when they really get to the core of it, to ask themselves, what is the goal that you're trying to achieve? And does that goal center the people harmed? Or does it center me? Okay, have a nice day.
When I was at Harvard Business School, one of the first friends I made was this white guy, super Christian. And I call him a super Christian because he was like really about that life. Like, he went to church every Sunday. He read the Bible regularly. I think I even heard him quote the Bible in class one time. Like he was really about that life. And I remember he and I hit it off. And I remember thinking early on, like, wow, for a super Christian, this guy's so non-judgmental. He's so nice. Like, he's so cool, whatever. And I say this as someone who grew up in church, okay? I was in church multiple times a week, so I'm familiar with the type. Anyway, we were cool. And I remember one time there was a speaker coming to school. I forget exactly what the speech was about, but this was a gay man who was coming to speak. And I asked my friend if he was going to attend. And he was like, no, I'm still sort of figuring out how I feel about this. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, figuring out about, like the gay lifestyle, because it kind of conflicts with what I've been taught and what I believe. But I'm kind of struggling with that because of just everyone I'm interacting with here. And he was just very open about the fact that, like, I'm struggling, I'm not going to attend, but I'm sort of figuring out how I feel about this, because what I've been taught is very different from what I think I'm currently experiencing. And I just remember thinking, like, respect. I respect that. Like, you've been taught this thing, you've grown up this way your whole life, but it's kind of conflicting with what you're experiencing, and you're being honest about that. Now, what does any of this have to do with Brooke? The thing is, my friend, like me, we both grew up being taught that homosexuality was a sin, right? Like in the Bible. We both eventually grew out of that belief, but at no time while we held that belief were we ever demeaning or belittling to any of the gay people around us, right? We worked through it, but we never felt like, and he never felt like, certainly my experience with him, I never saw him be, like I said, disrespectful, demeaning, belittling, homophobic. Like, when he had that moment of struggle, he didn't try to convince and promote, no one else should attend this event, this is a sin against God, blah, 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 blah. No, he didn't attend and didn't even share with anyone why he wasn't attending. He only shared it with me because we were close friends. And so when it comes to Brooke and her tweets, and by the way, I just learned who Brooke was like a month ago, and I kikied with everybody else about the Clinton Kane story, and it was entertaining. Okay, I would do it again. But there's the being raised to believe a certain thing. That's part one. Part two is having the character to demean and belittle and promote that belief to other people. That is a part two. And I know a lot of people who grew up a certain way who never made it to part two. And so we are allowed to judge her, not just for the belief, although I don't judge her as harshly for that, because I can empathize and sympathize with being raised a certain way. But for part two, right? Saying the things you said with your whole chest over many, many tweets, and not until 10 years later really addressing it, we're allowed to take issue with that. And by the way, not everyone, again, who has these beliefs makes it to part two, which is going out of their way to demean and belittle people because of those beliefs. That is a separate step. That's a step she took. That is not a step everybody takes. I just thought I'd add my 2 cents on that.
A reason, like a couple years ago, I had a huge change in the kind of content I was watching on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, because of the way my life is and the way reality is. I think oftentimes people who don't look like me, they have a different world around them. I had to worry about things from a really young age, and as an adult it got really serious because I am becoming me. I am becoming who I'm supposed to be, and as an adult in general, I'm learning. So the people I watch, the content I watch changes based off the things I care about, my morals, stuff I want to learn, and people I admire and find inspiring, and that changed at a certain age. So it was a era where I was watching these YouTubers that are doing diss tracks, and the Jake Pauls and the Rice Gums and the all that stuff. And looking back on some of the stuff, like, I literally went to look and I'm like, what was I thinking? They've done so much since then. It's insane. Everything from resurfaced racist tweets or, just disgusting stuff in general. I begin to notice and understand that they live in a completely different world than I do since birth. They don't think about people like me from the day-to-day basis. They probably don't even see me as anything to them. I mean, just, what is it, today or yesterday, Brooke Schofield is getting, all this backlash for resurfaced tweets about Trayvon Martin and the person that killed him being, innocent, and he was defending himself. I think she was saying all this when she was like 16 or 17 or something like that. But it just never shocks me. This is a continuing cycle. It happens over and over and over again with every influencer. And you just have to sooner understand that we are in America. Everything is political, whether people want to believe it or not. It's always made to be political because they've made politics people's actual lives. My Black life is always politics. Every other marginalized group, their life is always made to be politics. Whether you're poor or a woman, they make your life about politics when really we just want to live and be equals and not have to stress about things that are out of our control. And this whole week is probably going to be like, oh, they're trying to cancel Brooke, or, she's such a disgusting person. And a couple weeks later, everyone's going to forget, and it's just going to go back to the way it was, and then it's going to be the next person. All you have to do is find your people, support them. And if you don't like a person for what they've done, then keep it moving. Canceling isn't really real. I feel like it's just some idea, some thing that people have created. You hold someone accountable and continue to support them, or you just stop supporting them altogether. That's all your choice. In this world, nothing will ever become better if we X people out altogether and don't have empathy or don't let them grow from their mistakes. But that doesn't mean turning a blind eye, and that doesn't mean, it was a long time ago, just let's forget about it. That means I need to see action, I need to see growth, or I'm just gonna stop consuming whatever you do altogether and just go on about my life and go on about my business. And that's what I did years ago. And I still continue to do that because people will surprise you. So if I'm watching content, if I'm, going and following you on all these platforms, it's because I see something in you. I connect with your content. I think you're creative, and I think you are a person that I would actually get something from, learn something from, or just I admire in general. And I also think about, hey, do you think this person would have my best interest at heart? When they think about the world, am I included? When they think about things getting better, am I included in that? Are other marginalized groups included in that? Other minorities, other people of color? For example, Brooke came on here a couple weeks ago talking about how she felt so bad for Biden because it reminds her of her grandfather or someone in her family and how old he was and how he had to step down. But do you think she felt bad for how Kamala Harris is being treated in the media? They're grilling her about literally everything that's important, like her laugh or her smile, her race, her being a woman. She's being really targeted based off of a lot of misogyny and racism, but nothing is said, not by Brooke and not by a lot of influencers. And keep in mind, this is not just about her, but about literally so many. It's crazy. It applies to so many people, and it's just sad because the reason her stuff resurfacing and having her past be that way and her say those things, just like every other YouTuber, influencer, creator has had their past come about, and it's always has something to do with Black people and being racist in some way or some fashion, is because we are in America. Like I said, a lot of things are politicized, and they've grown up in this bubble where we aren't important, and they grow into adults where the life that they have and their belief system or just their everyday life, how they go about it, we're not included in any of their thoughts. We don't slip their mind just a bit. They don't see us as, equals sometimes. They don't see us at all or feel empathy for us, but will feel empathy for someone who looks like them, someone like Biden. And once again, this does not only apply to her. And I want to say, I'm not saying that I think she's a horrible person or she hasn't changed. I'm just saying I'm not surprised, and I look out for it all the time because it's constantly happening. Because we are in America. This is what the world is. This is what people are, taking in, the information, the media, what's around them, their environment, their families. This is what they learn at a young age, and they go on Twitter and say stuff like that. Sometimes they grow up to be horrible people. Sometimes they grow up to be school shooters or just treat people horribly or treat people like me horribly because of the color of our skin. That's why I say it's important to watch what you consume when you're younger, when you become an adult, because this has always been my reality. The world that I live in has always been people like me, women, people of color. They are constantly going through things that they shouldn't have to. And I've known that for a long time because I've grown up like this. And it was, it's just thrown in my face. I have talks with my family, with my parents, that what life is going to be like for me. I didn't have the privilege of living in a bubble where I was always okay. I didn't have to think about my rights being tampered with or the color of my skin really or how it would affect me negatively. So I've always thought about those things. I've always thought about the people around me, women, being raised by my mom, and people of color, knowing what I go through as a person of color. And another thing I like to mention is that, Tana Mojo, Brooke Schofield, literally any other YouTuber from their space you can think of. They all hang around each other. They have boyfriends that, don't do the best things, that they stay with until it's conveniently like a problem with a mass majority of online folk having a problem with them, and then all of a sudden they break up, or, they just parted ways, and then now they're spilling the tea and they're going on the podcast and telling their experiences and their truths. And while I applaud them for being transparent with how people treat one another in their space and in LA, and how rude people can be and disgusting, I always think about, like, at one point these people were your friends. At one point this is the boy that you were dating for such a long time, and now you say something when you're broken up, or now you say something now that you're not friends, or you just had enough, when in reality you should have said something a long time ago if it was that important. And not only that, there's so much happening right now that has gotten so bad that they could speak up about and choose not to, that they could expose, that they could shed light on and choose not to, which, okay, fine. But it just goes to show what I said. I don't think we are their priority. And I always think about that their audience who look like me, audiences that watch their content that look like me, or that are women, or that are part of any minority, how they would feel seeing resurfaced tweets like that, It's like, oh, so is that how they look at me? Is that how they feel about people like me? Or do they even care? I don't know. Those were just my thoughts. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you think I'm saying something out of line. I'd like to hear everyone else's thoughts. And I want to say this again. I have nothing, no problems with Brooke or Tana or any of those folk. I just am pointing out what I see and giving you guys some thoughts that I had, some changes that I've had as an adult growing up in this world and consuming content through my phone.
The tweets are just so horrible, like literally horrible. And the other annoying thing are the white people who are accepting apology on behalf of the people that she offended. Nobody sent them, and I feel like this is how annoying this thing can get. She was literally being racist to the minorities, and it is the white people saying they have accepted the apology because they know in their mind that that apology is not even meant for minorities, just like so many creators have pointed out, that it's meant for white people who support her so they don't stop supporting her, and so they can say at least she has apologized, so what do you guys want her to do? This person said, Tana sent a hate trade to Alabama Baker for something she did at 13. It seems like wrongdoing is fine if it is that. She did not extend grace to Trayvon Martin at that time, but now she's asking people to give her the grace because she was being like that. Her mindset was shaped like that because she was with family members who were full-blown racist. This person said, Brooke Schofield said in her apology that she learned to shift her thinking after college. She probably graduated 3 to 4 years ago, maximum 5. And this is the reason why people are saying, no, you haven't changed. Because literally, you went viral not long ago, so we know that that is not enough time to come tell us and convince us that you've changed. Another person said, the white woman in her comments that are forgiving her see themselves in her. Exactly what I said in that last video, the very first part. It's almost like they know that it's something that they would do, or something that they have done, or a thought that has crossed their mind. So they are seeing somebody who has done the same and they don't see it as a big deal. And this is the reason why they are accepting the apology on behalf of Black people. Something that really stuck with me. Brooke's apology wasn't for Black people. It was for the white people who did not want to feel guilty about liking her. And this is the absolute truth. This person said, and oftentimes in their apologies, they place the blame on the people who were offended rather than accepting that they caused harm. Another one said, like every human, whites got insecurities too, and by being racist, it helps them to feel better about themselves. I think that is why some of them tend to be nicer to others, but later in life. Another one said, I've always believed that influencers' apologies are for the fans of said influencers to have a reason to continue liking them. They can just use the apologized as an excuse. So when people come for them, they will be like, oh, well, they already apologized. What do you want them to do? It is full of white women accepting Brooke's apology. We forgive you. People change, and they could never make me hate you. I think this is the one that's even more annoying. The people who are commenting on that, the apology video, saying, they could never make me hate you. For someone that said that this person deserves to be unalive is crazy. Like, it's a representation of who these people are as well. Like, they are the same as her and her mindset. Obviously, the bullshit Brooke did isn't affecting them at all. Exactly. It wasn't about them. She didn't come at them. So there's no way for them to be angry. Let me hear what you guys think about this whole conversation surrounding Brooke's tweets that resurfaced back on the media and how disgusting those tweets are. If she said she didn't know better at that time, but you should know better about what you were typing. In those times, like 14, 15, 16, you're typing all those things. And America is a place that race is being put in front of everyone. They know you're Black. Like, you will be aware that you're Black. You know how these people are treated. No matter, like, I think from 11, 10 upward, you already know how you're being perceived as a Black person. To a point where there are so many kids who, come back from schools and tell their parents about some certain things that their white classmates did to them, even at that very young age. So there's no way that you can convince people that you don't know better. You were just a turn-on racist person. And this is the reason why people are not really having it with the apology. Especially when you're having an apology and you are going on a full-blown, rant, people are not buying it at all, because at this point, that is not what people want to hear. And I think it's better for her to address the white people in the comment section, telling her that she does not need to apologize, like, separately, because they are even pouring petrol into this fire for her, and people are going to drag her more, and it is going more viral. Let me hear what you guys think about this whole conversation, and let me hear what you think about the spam followed people, getting to a certain level of famous, and their whole tweets start coming online, and it's never something good. It's really never something good. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. I will see you guys in the next one.